Hi everybody, it's Cash, welcome back. Thank you very much for joining me. This is going to be a different kind of episode. I'm currently preparing a video about my trip to Sedona, the one I made in March. The retreat I went on, the healing I had, all the things I learned while I was there. Absolutely fascinating. This is my second visit to Sedona, and clearly they remembered me. But the second time is very different to the first, I found. The first time you do all the hardcore touristy things. Visiting psychics, there are lots of those. You can also have your aura tested, stop in at a crystal shop, lots of those too. Buy a toffee apple the size of a small planet, which will leave you feeling like this, by the way. Oh, and while you're out and about, don't forget to say hello to the famous headless woman of Sedona. Or you can do none of that and enjoy the much gentler pastime of ogling the scenery. Sedona can be a little limited in its scope. You could kind of do the whole place in the morning, probably. But you only have to stand still for a couple of minutes and look at the view. This would take up 3 days of my life, just looking at the view. A guy called John Thompson was the first Anglo resident in the area. That was in 1876. Soon after, a bunch of farmers and ranchers arrived as well to work the land and have families. If you'd lived here back then, you'd have known all these people and possibly dated half of them, eventually marrying an unshaven roughneck called Bear or Tumbleweed Willie. By the end of the century, the place had expanded from one shack to many, and even had a post office run by Theo Schnebley, whose wife was called Sedona. It's not a real name, by the way, her mother just made it up. For the next 50 years, this remained a remote, close-knit rural community of around 200 residents. Then came the tourist trade, and with it a building boom, and that was that. Remote and close-knit and rural went right out the window. Suddenly there were art centres and Whole Foods and a McDonald's that's famous because its arches are purple instead of the normal yellow, and people seem to care about that. The spark that really lit the tourist flame, though, was Hollywood. Thinking that Sedona looked like the Wild West, which it did, because it was, producers shot a slew of movies here, at which point restaurants like this one became an authentic hangout. Not for 19th century cowboys and ranchers, but for the actors who played them. For instance, John Wayne and Ernest Borgnine would hang out at the Cowboy Club when they were in town, eating rattlesnake sausages and playing canasta and singing karaoke. All of that aside, what casual visitors probably don't expect is how strong the spiritual vibe is in Sedona, where spirituality and conventional religion exist side by side. So you have your crystal shops on the one hand, and on the other hand you have your churches. By the way, I'm not counting the Chapel of the Holy Cross in that. Since it was built in the 1950s, it's become a huge tourist draw. It's really more of a sightseeing platform than a real place of worship, I think. You see that house? That was built and is owned by the guy who invented the stent that goes into the human heart after a heart attack. That guy built his house based on selling millions and millions of those stents. Isn't that incredible? This is really interesting. I was walking down below along the main street here, and somebody's got wind chimes. I was walking along the main street, and I saw this, and I thought, oh my lordy, who would believe this was here? Because it has so much to do with healing. the idea of spirit healing matter, which is what Christian Science teachings and healing are basically all about. So although I'm here on this retreat to explore these topics and to go deeper into them and see how much we can heal using energy and spirit and so on, I didn't expect there to be this. It's almost like an omen in a way. The fact that it's here says you're on the right track. Keep going. As for where you might stay when you're in town, there are two kinds of hotels, the good ones and the much better ones. I've tried both. On my first visit, I booked myself into the Best Western Arroyo on the south side of the main drag. That's if you can reach it. One of the weirder things about this place is that you can't cross the main street. They have a fence and don't allow you to cross it. So in order to get to the other side, which is where my hotel is, on the other side of here, I have to walk all the way down to the church here, or all the way up to the ends of the shops there. There's no crossing. Somebody in Sedona, get on that. It's a huge inconvenience. If you saw my first video, the one I posted from Sedona in December 2022, I think, this was the hotel I was in. And this passageway here, I'm not going to go in, but this passageway led to my room. I think my room was like 3 doors in. Quite a lovely room, actually. But there's no door on this passageway, and the wind blew through this so cold. And I thought, yeah, really, they should just put a door on this. What's wrong with them? The one downside of the hotel, and I said I really liked it, the one downside is I personally, this is between you and me, I personally didn't like the breakfasts. I thought they were horrible. And I didn't like the idea of getting up in the morning to have one. I think I ate one morning and then went out and had breakfast somewhere else. That's the downside of this hotel. But they were lovely, the staff were lovely, very obliging. The room was actually quite nice, and everything else, the view, great. But the breakfast, yeah, just for me. Other people might have liked them. Now I'll take you to see the hotel I'm actually in, which is the Amara Resort and Spa. I very likely will never see what the spa looks like. I'm sure it's just a gym and a massage table. But the hotel itself is really nice, and it's not too far away from the Best Western. But as hotels go, it's very much off the beaten track. You have to walk down a hill to get there, which means that at some point you're going to have to walk back up. I am already bearing that in mind. I will never leave this resort. This is the main building where the lobby is, and then I think the accommodation's back there, but it's very quiet, very secluded, very lovely. I think the hill out of the hotel is so daunting that many people will spend hours sitting in these chairs in the lobby rather than go outside and tackle it. They do have golf carts outside, but I'm not going to take one of those because I'm not going to spend money on it, frankly. Just for walking up a hill? Are you crazy? They have a lovely patio and a restaurant that, quite frankly, you should seek out even if you're not staying here. Look, this was my breakfast. It's not included in the price of the room, but frankly, I didn't care. It was delicious. Another feature of the hotel that I rather like is the fact that they have a meditation room. So I thought I'd go and look at the meditation room and see if it brings me peace and quiet and solace. Here it is, you see? Meditation room. And by meditation, they mean conference. It even has a bar. They should maybe take the sign down because it's not very indicative of what the facility is it really? It's not a meditation room. Maybe the spa is the same and it's really a bowling alley. Wow, look what I found. A river. I had no idea this was here. They really should point this out or put signs in the lobby or something saying we've got a river on the premises. Go and see it. This is fabulous. This is really gorgeous. Do you remember last time I was in Sedona in December 22? I energy tested a tree. it was going into winter, so it was shedding its leaves and everything was gradually closing down, like the town itself, really. The energy of this one is really low. This is right down at the base of the tree, right down there. Up here is nothing. I feel nothing. So the engine of the tree is still working, the roots are still feeding it, everything else is still working, but the actual life force of the tree, the vitality, is slowly going into hibernation. So the trees are starting to get leaves on them and buds and so on. So I would energy test this tree to see how it was doing now it was going into the spring. So let me just try this for a second. Yeah, it's kind of rising. It has that sort of protective casing to it, like, for example, a mother bear with her cubs. It's very, very busy, this tree. It doesn't look like it. In fact, on the surface, it looks kind of dead, but it's actually very, very busy. It's got energy going up it like a protective casing, and it doesn't want to be bothered by outsiders, particularly not humans. Like almost every third car in Sedona is a Jeep, I guess because of the inclement weather very often. But I'm beginning to think I might look very good in a Jeep. Maybe I should start a GoFundMe. I should set like 7 days for making $45,000, and then I'd be able to go around the country and look at things and taste foods and stuff. That'd be a good idea, wouldn't it? Like permanent vacation, but at somebody else's expense. Now, being a carefree sort of soul, I generally don't look for problems in a hotel. But on a grumpy day, I could point out that the Amara has two. First problem, the noise. Yay, it was time for the hotel's monthly generator test. Oh, and no sanctuary on Earth apparently is safe from the hellish imposition of leaf blowers. Oh, there's even a leaf blower here. The second issue I had, and it really is a niggling one, concerns the overpriced minibar items. I'm never sure why you're expected to take out a 15-year mortgage to buy a bag of M&Ms. This is the menu that they give you that tells you how much everything costs. So a Pellegrino, $8. A Chardonnay, like tiny little thing, is $22. A marshmallow bar. This is a marshmallow bar, apparently. It's gluten-free and a sweet, chewy treat. This is $6. They have a Snickers bar. How much is a Snickers bar? Not that I eat Snickers, but $4 for a Snickers bar. How much are they in real life? I have no idea. So this is a kind bar. And it's basically just nuts and raisins arranged in an oblong and put in a piece of plastic, right? That's that. And that is $4 for that little strip of nuts and raisins. Mini romance kit. I'm sorry, what? There's a picture of a rabbit next to it. There's a picture of a rabbit. A mini romance kit. Which is that? Oh! It's got a dent in it. Somebody's tried to break into this thing. A Temptation Lovers Kit. Ooh. It contains a couple's erotic vibrating ring. I have no idea what that does. Mini multi-speed vibrator. I mean, very mini, right? This is tiny. It doesn't vibrate already. You've got to actually take it out. 2 premium condoms. So this is meant to last like a couple of nights, I guess. And Liquid Pleasures personal lubricant. I mean, you could bring kids into this room and they're going to be playing with this and going, what is a vibrating ring, Daddy? And if it's me, Daddy's not going to know. Daddy would have to take it out and look. You know, I think I'd rather have the Snickers. And that was it, my first few days in Sedona. I really enjoyed myself. It even snowed while I was there, which was fantastic. I took one last walk around town, said goodbye to the headless woman of Sedona, there she is, and went off on my retreat. This was a very, very special time, and I will fill you in on what happened in the next video. But the retreat center was amazing. The people were phenomenal. I was terrified of meeting them.
You were telling us you were terrified to be with people.
Absolutely.
You have been charming, you've been kind, you've been compassionate, you've been attentive to people.
I stayed in a little leprechaun house.
This is so exciting. This is where I will be staying. It's pygmy-sized. It's like a doll's house.
I had an energy healing.
This is what I came all this way for.
And I learned a lot as well about life and energy and so on, which I will tell you in the next video. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching, guys, and I will see you very soon. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
If you had to do this several times a day, you'd either be incredibly fit or you'd have a heart attack. And I'm not even sure right now which one it's going to be. Oh, my Lord.